This is Jake with Golden Fox Farms. We're doing some equipment assembly videos today. I'm going to show you how I put together a brood box. A lot of people in the books, they recommend using 4 different clamps and putting everything together real nice and tight and pretty like. I don't do that at all. I do it as fast and as simple and as cheaply as I can. What I will do is I'll take a side board. This is the long 20-inch dimension board. This is pine, by the way. We got this from Toba Frey in Amish country. It's gorgeous material. This board's 20 inches long. Put that on my table.
Explain why it's scored.
The scoring here, this is to encourage propolis application. You don't have to do this. This really isn't something a beginner needs to worry about, and we really don't even know how great this works. But there's ongoing research about it coming out of Minnesota that I think is intriguing. This bar clamp is on the table just to give me a positive stop for when I'm working and keep my stuff from sliding away. You could nail down a board on a workbench. You could clamp your material to your workbench. You could do this in the back of a pickup truck. I've done this on a tailgate of a truck before in an apiary. So anyway, we take our side piece, we take an end piece, and we put them together. And we take a look at our joint. I'm going to use a speed square to make sure I'm somewhat close to square. Now I look at the joint down here, and I can say there's a slight bow in this side piece, and the front piece here is actually pretty good. It looks like it might have a slight bow with a crown about here. So since this board goes like this and this board goes like this, I put my first fastener there in the middle. I'm just using 2-inch nails right now. And I'm going to put in 1 just to kind of hold it together. Okay. So now we'll do the other end. You do want to make sure your handles are on the outside. Pro tip. Again, we're going to look at our fingers and see where we should start nailing it. We have good fitment here. This sideboard's really pretty good. Now I can also say this end piece has a little bit of a crown because we're getting good contact here, good contact back there, a little bit of a gap here. So I'm going to go again for the middle to push that gap down. Now we'll put our other side piece on and we'll flip the material so we're pushing against our stop that's on the table. Once again, speed square, keeping us square. Looking at the joints, slight bow down, and this piece here, I actually have good contact back on this end actually. So rather than nailing in the middle, I'll start here and I'll nail away from that later on. We're just doing our 1 nail where we have the best contact, best fit. We have 1 more corner to get a fastener into. Again, I'm going to check my fingers. This board coming out like this. This board's rather flat. And I'll go right there in the middle and flatten this board down. Like I said, I'm using 2-inch nails. These are galvanized nails. You want to use galvanized in most instances with nails on exterior applications. If you use screws, you want to use coated screws for the same reasons, keeps them from corroding. And if you use staples, you definitely want galvanized staples. Now, looking at this joint, it kind of comes up a little and kind of comes out a little. So what we'll do is we'll go from that 1 nail we put in where we have good contact, and we'll nail away from it. So I'll do 2 nails, 2 nails, 2 nails, 2 nails, and that'll take all of that wave out of this joint. Another reason to use 2-inch fasteners or 2 1/4 fasteners is when the day comes, if we decide to turn this 10-frame box into an 8-frame box, and we end up cutting off 2 3/8 inches of wood, this nail won't get hit by your saw blade. Now, some other things I could be doing right now, I could be pre-drilling these holes. If I pre-drill the holes, I'll be less likely to split the wood. And I think we have a little split there. And it's the most minuscule of splits. I don't even think the camera's going to pick it up. But if I drilled, I wouldn't have that split going on. And our last two nails. And this technique will actually take pretty significant bends and bows out of the wood. So we did one with nails. Let's do another joint with screws. How about this joint? Once again, since we have the nail here, we're going to work away from the nail. Another reason to work away from the nail as opposed to towards it, if I start fastening stuff here, if there is a wave, it's going to get trapped. It can't go anywhere. By working here, we're going to push that wave to the outside and flatten all the materials out. The screws I'm going to use are simple 2-inch deck screws. They're a fairly common type of screw with a trumpet head. The problem with these little trumpet heads is they can split the wood. Now you can get a screw that has a truss head. These have a lot more holding power. I'll often use these for repair work on boxes, but these cost twice as much as these. So we'll use these to put the box together. These are simple Phillips head 2-inch screws that are coated. I'm not pre-drilling. Now once that screw starts, get your hand away from it before you take it home. Because if this tool pops out, you want it to hit the wood and not your hand. These screws are somewhat bad about splitting wood. So if you do use screws, you probably should plan to pre-drill. They split much more readily than nails do. You can see that's kind of tearing it up a little bit. I rarely use screws in assembling boxes. Because, as you can kind of see what's going on, we really should have pre-drilled this because it's splitting the wood so badly. It does hold the joint a lot more tightly than nails or staples do. But at the end of the day, it only needs to be held so tight. If you're really concerned about strength, the wood glue will actually give you a stronger product than anything else. So that's a joint done with screws. It's kind of slow. It's kind of clumsy. Now what most people do, if they're assembling a lot of boxes, is they'll use a wide body stapler like this one. These staples are 7/16 inch wide, almost a ½ inch, and they're 2 inches long and they're galvanized. And this process is a lot faster. Using the same stuff, we'll work away from the nail that we started with that had our good contact between boards, and we'll just staple away. Another perk about staples, much less likely to split your wood. You do want to make sure if you overshoot, your hand isn't in the way, because you don't want to catch a loose staple, because they come out with quite a bit of speed. And we can see that joint's come together rather tightly. And we'll go ahead and finish up the box. If you're only doing a few boxes, hammer nail's fine, or staples for that matter. If you're doing 50 boxes, you probably want to invest in a stapler. That's box assembly. Thanks for joining us. Oh, one more thing. You can see how strong these are by stepping on them, if you're really so inclined. That's about as much as you could ever hope a box to hold. Thank you for joining us.